Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Pop Anime Comics here from PopAnimeComics.com and the Pop Anime Comics Lounge podcast, where I interview voice actors, comic writers, artists, cosplayers, and professional wrestlers. And we're going to be talking about Attack on Titan Season 3, Episode 4/41 Trust. And obviously, I'm a day late. Lighting is kind of wonky. It's dark outside. Lighting isn't exactly the best here, but we're going to make do because I'm coming off of Otakon. And for the next 2 weeks, till the 25th of August, you can go to my Facebook page, which I'll put in the link down below, and you can actually see my Attack on Titan, The Walking Dead, and Fahrenheit 451 panel absolutely free for 2 weeks only. And all these videos for Season 3 kind of are a companion to that, along with the videos that I did for Season 2, which I've been saying for a while. So that's why I'm a day late. That's why the quality isn't as good. But we're still going to talk about big ideas here and what's going on. So really, I think this episode starts out very interestingly, where the interior military police / normal military police are analyzing the Survey Corps and what they have done. And up to this point, we get two characters who are like, well, they're kind of questioning, saying, well, they've done some good stuff, they caught that Titan on their own, but they've also contributed to a lot of deaths, and we're out here looking for them. And ultimately, they get the jump on Armin. They try to pull fast when they get caught. And in that interaction, it's revealed that they're saying, look what happened to Annie. You guys kind of killed her. And then it's Levi who reveals that Annie was that Titan. And it kind of changes their perspective and changes their opinion and changes exactly what's going on. And it also raises the point where nobody knows what's going on. The fact that nobody except the center, which is the royal government, really has an idea of what is going on, and information-wise, as those two basic military police had no clue that Annie was the Titan. And that's a well-kept secret, and that's something that I think speaks heavily to Attack on Titan. I spoke about it in my panel a little bit, but that's a key component where clearly information is not being distributed, despite a bunch of people witnessing it and knowing. It's still pretty kept centralized and secret. At the same time that this is going on, Erwin is starting to get interrogated, and really his arc is starting to go where he is pretty much going down the path where he is not about to, he's kind of about to implement his plan, but he's getting beat up and he's getting an audience with the king, and that leads down to the path where they've been targeting Erwin for a long time, since really he's been a little child. And now they're like, we finally are going to execute him, and then the Survey Corps are going to die, and then we're going to be able to restore peace, and we're going to have no problems. And he's the problem and kind of the thorn. And so that's something that kind of is kicking off with Erwin and setting up a bigger issue, and it's kind of bringing us to the next high point in Attack on Titan at this point, where this is where Erwin's plan is kind of being set up. At the same time this is going on, we get a situation where Doc, who is a commander of interior military police, is kind of questioning what's going on with the government, and a reporter is asking questions, and his senior kind of slaps him upside the head and says, he's a rookie, we don't ask those questions. And the reporter says, we're not going to quote you, and we're not going to talk about the ODM. But Doc realizes, along with the reporter, realizes that the ODM, which was just used, is not meant to kill Titans because it's a buckshot. It's not a Titan weapon. It's meant to kill humans, and Doc realizes that at some point, they're not given these weapons. They don't even know about these weapons. And at some point, they're going to be staring down the end of a muzzle, and it's going to be aimed at them. And this gets him to start thinking about what's about to happen to them when the government and this group doesn't like the interior basic military police. A gun's going to be pointing at them. And I think that's something that is also fascinating about this episode, is that it breaks down that component and it explores that venue of saying, well, there's obviously a lot of things that are being kept secret, and while right now we are the military police, at any given time, the government and the centralized government and their special ops can take out us because they design weapons purposely to fight the Survey Corps. And then once the Survey Corps is eliminated, they can eliminate anybody else they want because they have weapons designed to kill humans. And so I think that's a big takeaway from this episode. And then pretty much from there, the Survey Corps starts to make their move. And they start to really, and at the same time they're making their move, Flagle kind of gets rescued by Hanji-san and Hanji. And from there, he kind of gets an awakening while the Survey Corps also breaks through a checkpoint, gathers information, doesn't really gather much information about where Eren and Historia are, but they kind of allude to Kenny Ackerman, and he's acting on his own with the royal government's agenda. And Flagle kind of starts growing a pair here. And I think this is showing, and Hanji kind of brings it out in him, where she convinces him to want to stand up instead of run away. And ultimately with him is that he kind of puts himself in a situation and uses himself as bait, gets the attention of the interior government, on the books type people whose mission is to kill him. Then he says, "Why'd you kill my father?" And they basically said they killed his father because he flipped to the Survey Corps, and corpse, and he was working with them because he realized that he wanted to stand up for freedom and kind of not deal with this disastrous of a mess, and he realized that the government is corrupt and they had to eliminate him, and they're about to eliminate him. Meanwhile, they admitted that in front of pretty much everybody, a bunch of reporters, a bunch of citizens who are now witnesses, and now it's clear that in the city that Flagle was in, and all the people have witnessed it's going to be reported. And this is at the same time that Survey Corps is making their move and Eren's making his move. And so this is the point in Attack on Titan where the Civil War is in full effect, where we now have the actual attacking going on with Levi and Armin and Mikasa. We have the planning going on and kind of the uprising grassroots movement leading, with Flagle backing / kind of pushing forward and kind of turning the citizens against the government. And then we have Erwin enacting his plan, which is kind of banging it in and actually attacking the government directly and the inner circle directly. And so that's where we are at in Attack on Titan. And that is crucial because this is now where everything comes head to head, from a physical, from a citizen versus the upper class versus wall, as well as with a governmental clash of ideas and ideologies all occurring at once, playing out between one another. And that's what this episode really sets up nicely. And while we're not seeing this come into fruition, which is going to be the next few episodes, we're starting to see the setup for it. And I think that's the crucial component that's being taken out of this. And so I think it's really an interesting way that they set it up. And they set up almost 3 separate events and 3 separate things that are all occurring at the same time and are all crucial to overthrowing and restoration and really controlling who controls humanity moving forward. Is it going to be the royal government and the royal government's citizens and the citizens aligned with them? Or is it going to be this grassroots movement citizens, the Survey Corps, and Erwin's ideology pushing forward versus the Kings? And that's what really this episode is dealing with, is that it's setting up that final standard and what really Season 3 is dealing with. And this season in particular is moving really quickly with it. We're on episode 41, I believe it's episode 4 out of the lot, and we're moving really quickly going forward into this. And so that's where we're at. And I think this is the setup to all of those ideologies. And I talk a lot about this in a very general and getting a little bit into the weeds in my panel, which again is free. And this episode and episode 3 act as a really good companion to what I talked about at Otakon. Because unfortunately at Otakon, I was very much aware of my audience and I didn't want to ruin anything. And so if you're checking out that Facebook panel, either before or after you're watching this, you're going to realize that there's a lot of stuff that happened in Season 3 between Irwin and the King. There's a lot of stuff that happened in this episode that we could talk about, and there's going to be a lot more stuff that we're going to talk about that panel is going to go nicely with in episodes 5 and 6, 42 and 43. I'm projecting. And so that's something to keep in mind. Anyway, I appreciate everybody listening to this. It's always fun to talk about Attack on Titan. Again, you can watch these videos independent. You don't need to watch my panel. If you missed the boat, I definitely post on Twitter where I'm presenting and all that jazz. So definitely check me out when I'm presenting these panels. Also, you can watch this stuff independent, as I said before. Definitely is very cool to watch it with that panel because this fills in the blanks. And you can also check out Season 2 of the videos I did, which also act as a companion. So thank you for watching. It's always appreciated. Again, all my social media is, I'm going to do it real quick. It's popanimecomics.com for articles about anime, comics, pop culture. It's my Twitter's at popanimecomics. You can check out the podcast. It's Pop Anime Comics The Lounge. Obviously, you can subscribe here. I have an Instagram, Pop Anime Comics. I'm very active. The Facebook is Pop Anime Comics. I'm doing this, make no money from it. I just love talking about Attack on Titan. So definitely follow me there. Again, that panel is free on Facebook. I would definitely recommend checking it out, especially the early birds here who actually discover and realize thought leaders, because that panel is extremely thought-provoking and will definitely give you a new perspective on Attack on Titan, The Walking Dead, and Fahrenheit 451, and a lot of the big ideas. And if you're like me, you love big ideas in anime, comics, pop culture, and that's what that panel accomplishes. Again, it's only up till the 25th, so if you're watching this on the 26th, you're a little bit late to the party. I'm sorry, but the early bird gets to work. And until next time, everybody, have a wonderful week, day, or whenever you watch my next video, and I hope to see you soon.